You're listening to TDH Voice, an addiction and recovery podcast brought to you by the Discovery House. Join us for news, expert tips, and fresh perspectives on all things addiction and recovery.
Welcome to episode 3 of TDH Voice, a podcast all about addiction and recovery brought to you by the Discovery House. I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Deb.
And we're both super excited about this episode. It's going to be all about something that a lot of people talk about in the recovery community, dating in sobriety.
Now, if this is your first episode, or say you've been an avid listener from day one, welcome. I'm glad you're here, and I hope you find a sense of inspiration and hope, and maybe some fun dating ideas.
So Valentine's Day is fast approaching, and love is in the air. For some, this is a reason for celebration. For others, it's a source of anxiety. Whether you're spending time with a significant other, a friend or family member, or someone else who floats your boat, we've got some outing ideas for a day or night of sober fun. Grab an ice cream. There's nothing more fun than grabbing a sweet treat with a sweetheart. Satisfying both your sweet tooth, in moderation of course, is a wonderful way to spend time with a friend. And since we're in LA, there's no shortage of places to get the scoop. One of my favorite places is Wanderlust Creamery, which is just up on Reseda and Ventura, and they have amazing ice cream. I have tried ice cream from all over the valley, all over Los Angeles, and this is by far one of my most favorite places to go. It's the best tasting, it's the best quality, and they are open super late, so it's like kind of a nice place to go if you're, you go out for dinner and you want to like have a little fun dessert thing after.
It's a good way to extend the date if you don't necessarily feel ready to go home yet.
Yes, exactly. And all of their ice creams are inspired by like travel and wanderlust, hence the name. And they've got some like really unique flavors. Like my favorite is what is it called? I forgot what it's called.
I like the Earl Grey one.
That's the one. Earl Grey. Yeah, the Earl Grey. It's from London, of course. So it's really, really good. And they also have an ube flavor it's like bright purple color, and it's really tasty too. So
Gotta love that ube.
And then another place that is pretty popular, Salt and Straw. I haven't been there myself, but Deb, have you been there?
Yeah, I've been there a couple of times, and they're Portland based, but they have like a rotating variety of their monthly flavors, and then they have their classic flavors, but even their classic flavors are like kind of a twist on like the classics. And then their monthly flavors, like right now they have like, it's all vegan for January, these monthly like special flavors.
Ooh. And
they have an Elvis one that's like all peanut butter and banana and jelly and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's super, super good.
Awesome. And last one we have to mention is Diddy Reese, which I also have not gone to. So, Deb, can you shed some light on that?
Yeah, it's near the UCLA campus, so it's in like the Westwood area. So it's kind of like a younger crowd usually that's around there, and it's sort of, they're famous for their ice cream cookie sandwiches, which you can get almost anywhere, but like Diddy Reese is kind of like the king of the ice cream cookie sandwich world.
Sounds delicious. So what is our next date idea, Deb?
Now, the next date would be walking. Nobody walks in LA, right? Like, we've all heard the song and this and that, but, from time to time, it's nice to get some sun, do that whole communing with nature thing. Not to mention that exercise in any capacity has amazing, amazing benefits for people in recovery. You sleep better, you look better, you feel better. And to do that with, someone you care about is kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah, exactly.
Treat yourself and a loved one. So, one of the first places that I'd like to go to whenever I'm sort of in the mood for walking is Descanso Gardens. It's over in like the La Cañada Flintridge area. It's sort of nicely tucked away. It's not too busy usually. Lots of really pretty like flowers, plants, and just there's a lot of like nice space where you could go and just walk and talk, and it's very, very chill. Another one is if you're in the Pacific Palisades area, just off of PCH on Sunset, is the Self-Realization Fellowship Lake Shrine, which, not only is it this beautiful, like, temple that's surrounding a lake, it really invites, like, meditation and that kind of, like, quiet, introspection, so it's really, really great, you know, to be by yourself, to be with a loved one. It's nice. It's almost like you can say a lot to somebody else without really saying much, just sort of walking and feeling. And another one is the Greystone Mansion and Gardens in Beverly Hills. Really, really beautiful grounds. Like the park part is open, I think, to the public on like weekends, or I think maybe during the week, but like the mansion, they only do special events, but you can go and like listen to music and stuff. It's really, really pretty.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool, like, even though we live in this, like, bustling city, to just kind of get away to a place where it feels like you're not even in LA anymore. Just kind of be, like, surrounded by nature and feel like you're having, like, this little getaway with yourself and your loved one.
Yeah, it's like a staycation.
Yeah.
Whatever they call it. So next, skating, both ice and roller.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most important things in any kind of relationship is really that feeling accepted for being exactly who you are. Now, say you're like an ice king or queen and you can like do a triple axel, and you know, that's cool. If you're like me and you're totally like klutzy wall hugger, that's fine too. Some of the funnest parts about ice and roller skating is getting to kind of fall on your bum and like laugh it off with somebody else. I mean, if you're there with a date and they see you fall and they're like, that's cool, and they just help you up, like, you know you've got a keeper.
Mm-hmm.
A few really good places around town. There's the LA Kings Valley Ice Center. That's where I think they do, like, practices and stuff. They have open skates, and that's you know, ice skating. And then for roller skating, there's the Moonlight Rollerway in Glendale, which is super fun. They have a lot of theme nights. I think they do a weekly, like, LGBT night, which is super cool.
I think they do a 90s night, too. I've always wanted to go, but I haven't.
Yeah, it's like so much fun. And then World on Wheels as well, I think, just reopened. And they do a lot of like interesting theme nights and fun little open skates too.
Yeah, that would be super fun. What else is also fun is the bevy of amusement parks that are within the vicinity if you live in California. It's probably one of the best things about living in California is how close we are to basically all the best theme parks there are. If you and your date are both thrill seekers, this can be a great way to break the ice and just have some good old-fashioned fun. And there's really no better feeling than that natural adrenaline rush. So, some cool places you could check out. Santa Monica Pier is a really great place, especially if you've never been there before. I feel like even if you've lived here your whole life, or if you've moved here and you're kind of exploring the city, Santa Monica Pier, you gotta go. It's like one of those places, you just gotta go.
And it's got those fun like kiddie rides. It kind of like, takes you back.
It's totally kitschy, but it's so fun. And there's nothing like going on the Ferris wheel and feeling like you're like flying over the ocean. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Six Flags, obviously, is super well known for their epic roller coasters. I'm personally not a fan of roller coasters, but I have heard great things about Six Flags, and a lot of our clients go to Six Flags when they move here, so I have heard plenty of good things, and it's super close by. Like, where is it? It's Santa Clarita.
So it's not really that far. I mean, it's like, and I hear that they have this roller coaster. I've only been to Six Flags like a handful of times, but there's this one where it's like they strap you into the seat thing, and you're like face down, like flying over stuff. And I haven't done it, and I've always been curious, but I'm also like what if I totally like freak out? So I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, I would totally freak out for sure. Another place you just simply have to go to if you're in California is Universal. Universal Studios, Universal City Walk. There's so much to do there, even if you don't even go to the park. Like, there's tons of like cool restaurants and shops, especially if you're a movie lover, which how can you not be if you live in LA?
Right. And they also have like, what is it, the Harry Potter land and the and Simpsons World.
There's a lot of fun stuff to do there too, and it's like really affordable.
Yeah.
We thought about mentioning Disneyland, but I feel like that's a little bit pricey for a date. But
especially a first date.
Yeah. Another really fun thing to do is is going to museums. So even if you're not a museum person, it can be an incredible venue to connect with somebody on a more intimate level. Museums are quiet, so it's easy to have a conversation, and if it turns out you aren't really feeling it, it's really easy to get lost in one. So some of the coolest museums actually are the LACMA, which is, I think they show like a lot more like modern stuff, which is, I'm way more into that. And then we have the Broad, which recently opened, I think like a year or two ago.
I've heard great things about it.
It's so cool. Like, it's really fun. If you are more into modern art and sort of like installation type stuff, like, it's really, really fun. And sort of more immersive art experiences, like I think it's the Infinity Room.
Oh.
I never got to go to the Infinity Room, but it is so cool. If you've seen pictures on Instagram, really, really cool if you can get a ticket. They sell out pretty quickly, so. And then Mocha, which I have not been to, but
I think they have like one or two like locations downtown. They've got some really, really interesting exhibits, installations, what have you. I haven't been in a couple of years, but like I'm greatly looking forward to going back. I remember it being a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And it's also near like the Walt Disney Concert Hall, I think, so like.
Oh yeah, that's like right by the Broad. The Broad is right across the street.
And it's great to just sort of like wander around downtown LA. Mm-hmm. It's always fun. Like,
it's really pretty.
It comes back to the nobody walks in LA, but if you do,
this is where you walk.
Yeah.
The Getty's fun too.
Yeah.
I like the Getty. I like the Getty more for the views and the actual like architecture.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
I'm not a huge fan of the actual art, I'm not gonna lie, but it is fun to go to, walk around, take in the views.
Appreciate some art.
Exactly.
Next up, picnics. Now, I know it seems like a very, I don't know, old school, old-fashioned, but picnics are a simple and effective way to, say, meet up for somebody on their lunch break. And it's a really fun date idea, especially if you're a foodie like me. Like, go to Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, wherever you want. Get a big basket of all your favorite snacks and nosh away the afternoon. Mm-hmm. There's places around town. I mean, there's so many different parks and stuff. Like, if you're a beach person, Dockweiler's really fun. It's also great for bonfires and little get-togethers as well.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's always like a really fun little place. And then there's Grand Park in downtown, which is pretty sprawling from what I've seen. Lots of little like nooks and places where you can park yourself with a blanket and just sort of, and people watching too.
Yeah, they have a lot of great like events there too. So like on the weekends they have little markets or little community events that you can kind of stop by and like look at local artisans and little shops and things like that. If you wanted to kind of have something else to do while you also picnic.
Yeah, and it's always nice, I think, especially like for people in recovery, to sort of find a sense of community.
Yeah, totally.
Whether it's a larger scale or smaller scale, but like to find that, wandering around a neighborhood, you don't just feel like another face in the crowd, you kind of like feel that sense of togetherness.
Mm-hmm, which is really hard to feel in LA when it's like such a big city, but yeah, going to things like that will definitely give you that sense of community for sure.
Yeah. And Echo Park Lake. So Echo Park Lake, this is one I wanted to mention, really for the sheer fact that they refilled the lake. Mm-hmm. But also, you can rent paddle boats, and I think that's like the cutest thing ever. Like, I don't know, I've always wanted to do that. Like, I don't think they have any swan-shaped ones, but if they did, I would be like so in one of those paddling.
Yeah. Also, another thing that you can do in LA that people like to do a lot is hike. You can take your relationship to new heights with breathtaking views of the city. Even though we might not walk in LA, we definitely love a good hike. There are tons of places to hike, whether you have 50 minutes or the whole day. The benefits of fresh air and sunlight for people in recovery is invaluable. Sometimes all it takes is a mildly strenuous journey to put everything into perspective. And there's lots of really cool places you can hike. If you want a great view of the Hollywood sign, which we all do, even though we've seen it like a million times, you can hit up the Mount Hollywood Trail. Another really cool one is Vasquez Rocks.
Vasquez Rocks. They